You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Janefeld. Welcome to a special edition of On Air. I'm your host, Chris Janefeld, and I'm now joined by somebody who was one of the top pass rushers in Division II football. He was the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year and a finalist for the Cliff Harris Award, which is given to the top small school defensive player in the country. It's a pleasure to welcome onto the show. He's the now former Fort Valley State defensive end, outside linebacker, and the newest member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the CFL. He's Demetrius Harris. And Demetrius, I really appreciate you spending some time with us this evening. I'm sure things are still pretty hectic on your end. How's everything going, man?
Everything is good, so I appreciate you for having me. I'm still trying to soak everything in. It's a blessing to be in this position I'm in now.
Certainly. I mean, you're officially a professional football player. Anybody growing up playing any type of sport, especially if you get the opportunity to play at the college level, I think there's a little bit of a hope, and the end goal is always to get some type of opportunity to play professionally. And now here you are. Last week, March 27th, you broke the news yourself, Demetrius, that you will forego your final year of eligibility at Fort Valley State University and will be taking your talents north of the border. The tweet included highlights from your time at Fort Valley and ended with Rough Riders players running out of the tunnel, their fans going crazy in the stands, things like that. Tell us how you came to the decision to come out early and sign with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
So, what happened was, last season I wasn't able to play because I didn't have any credits from spring, so I had to sit out fall of 18. And I was doing my calculations myself of my time left I had on my clock, and I was at the same time I was talking with the coaches, compliance and everything like that, and they were telling me that I have one season left. So and then at the time I was with my girlfriend and my son down in Tampa, Florida at the time. So I was kind of in between on coming back to school or just staying home working with my son and my girlfriend and just being a family man. But I decided to come back and play my last year, which I thought was going to be. But kind of about the third or fourth game in the season, I found out that I had another year left, which I had my mind set on just coming for one more year and playing to see what happened after that. But so after the season was over, I had a great year. I was talking to my coaches. They kind of knew I didn't want to come back for another year, so there was a scout that's on the team I'm going to now. He actually coached against me when I was in high school, and then I guess he heard about me and he reached out to my coach, and then they explained my circumstances, and they already knew I wasn't trying to come back for another year. So after our last game of the season, about a couple of days afterwards, I actually got a call from the general manager, and he was explaining to me that he saw my film, he liked me, and that he would offer me a contract. And then after that, I looked over the contract. I thought about it for a while, and then Coach Porter gets fired. He was the head coach at Fort Valley State, and he is the one that brought me in 2017. So after that, that was kind of it. I didn't really want to play under anybody else, especially going into my senior year. So that kind of made it for me, and I'm excited.
Yeah, as you should be. Like you said, you last season, you're surprised 3-4 weeks into the season, you're told that you actually do have another year of eligibility when the whole time you're thinking it's your final go around. And then, new coaching staff comes in at Fort Valley, and it makes that decision a little bit more easier, especially with the offer that you had on the table. I've seen that you participated in the Georgia Tech Junior Pro Day before the pandemic caused by COVID-19. How do you feel you performed at that Pro Day, and do you remember any of the numbers that you recorded? I mean, what type of athlete did you kind of showcase yourself as at that Junior Day?
For the Junior Day, well, the only thing we did was 40-yard dash. And my 40, it wasn't as impressive as it should have been or as fast as it should have been. My my mechanics and my techniques were off, and it just slowed down my time. I actually ran a 4.9 40. So yeah, it wasn't where I thought it should be, or it wasn't where it actually needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Were the Roughriders by chance in attendance there? Did that pro day in any way help strike this deal any quicker?
Oh no, sir. Well, the deal was actually done before the pro day. I just went because there was the Bills and the Buccaneers that called my coach and asked for me to actually come there. So I just went there just to show my face and talk to them some.
Anytime you can get any interest from teams, especially in the NFL, I mean, that want to see you live and in person, I mean, you got to jump on that opportunity, and that's exactly what you did. Again, we're chatting with Demetrius Harris, the former Fort Valley State standout pass rusher and newest member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And Demetrius, you're coming off of a season in which you recorded 19.5 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, to go with 6 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown. You were named the conference's Defensive Player of the Year, and it wasn't even close. Looking back, just how would you describe the season that you had last year, and what allowed you to have the dominating impact that you had week in and week out? What was it more so just the love of the game that you missed the 2018 season, and you kind of had a chip on your shoulder? Did you fine-tune any of your mechanics heading into the year? I mean, what allowed you to dominate? And as I said, 19.5 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, Conference Defensive Player of the Year. What all went into that?
Like you were saying, everything, the emotion, missed the game, me having that fuel under me of it being my last year, as I thought I needed to get my name as big as I could, make as much impact on the game as I could, and it showed on the field. Like all summer, fall camp, leading up into fall camp, I was beating myself up in the weight room, on the field, doing field drills, running, conditioning myself, getting myself ready to have a breakout season as I pumped myself up to have prior to the season. And so I was ready. Like I said, all summer, all fall camp, I'm lifting weights twice a day, running extra before, after everyone else, and it all paid off in the end.
And how about the pass rush repertoire of yours, Demetrius? You don't have to share any of your secrets or anything, but what are some of your favorite moves that you use to get past offensive linemen and into the backfield?
So me, myself, I'm a speed guy. And once I beat an offensive lineman with speed the first couple times, and they'll lunge out and try to stop me quick, or they'll kick all the way back as far as they can. And I just set up with a speed bull. I love fake it like I'm running the edge, and I'll go right down the middle of them. I go right in the chest, down the middle, and I'll either pressure the quarterback, hit the quarterback, or do something like that, so that I can help my team.
Yeah, when I was watching some of your tape, Demetrius, I mean, the first thing that stood out is your quickness and the ability to get right off the offensive line when the ball is snapped. But then I also found myself kind of writing down, as you said, you are a speed pass rusher. I noticed very powerful as well, though. I mean, there's times where you get the offensive lineman right out of your way to make a play in the backfield. I mean, I think you really do kind of bring that perfect balance between speed and power.
Yeah, and then that was something I worked on a lot, because since I've been in middle school and high school, I've always been stronger and bigger than everybody. But once I came up to college, everybody's strong, everybody's fast, so I had to figure out how to tweak my game a little bit to where I could have the advantage of both, and it all worked out for me.
It certainly did. You mentioned the speed aspect that you bring to the defensive line, power aspect. For those not familiar with your game, how would you describe it, and what would you say is your biggest strength as a defensive end or outside linebacker?
My biggest strength would be my physicality and my hands and feet, because most of everybody really don't know that before I came to college, I was actually a tight end and a slot receiver, and I played and I play some fullback and running back as well. So my hands and feet are as good as a receiver.
Absolutely, especially seeing as you have the past experience of playing those positions. How about most memorable play that you've made throughout your collegiate career, Demetrius? Looking back 10, 15 years down the road, what will be that first play that comes to mind when thinking about your Wildcats career?
My most memorable play. I would have to say it was my red shirt sophomore year. It was a homecoming game. We already win like 20 something to 3, and then my other end from the other side came around this, and I believe he hit the running back or the quarterback, and the ball came loose, and I picked it up and ran it about 30 yards to the end zone, and just hearing everybody cheering on and stuff like that. That was a great feeling.
Absolutely. Are you a guy that when you pick up the ball and you go 30, 40, 50 yards, do you run over to the bench and hit that oxygen machine?
After a while, I have to jump up and get hyped with the team as I come back to the sidelines first, and then I go sit down on the bench and take my sip of water.
That's great. A couple more questions for Demetrius Harris, the former Fort Valley State pass rush extraordinaire and the newest member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders here on air. And Demetrius, have you been in contact with the coaching staff there in Saskatchewan since you've signed the dotted line on that contract? What's the communication been like between you and the organization up to this point?
I've talked with the strength and conditioning coach almost every day about my lifting and eating. And then the head coach, I actually talked with him twice already, and the defensive line coach I actually haven't talked to because he's new on staff and he's just getting everything himself. So I'm just waiting on that time to come once he gets everything in and stuff like that, and and then I'll reach out to him or he'll reach out to me however to go. But I'll talk to him before we go up for camp.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't want to look too far ahead, Demetrius, but many, including myself, believe you're an NFL talent. You mentioned it, the Buccaneers, the Bills, they wanted to see you live at that Georgia Tech Junior Pro Day. So there's some interest there for you. Mm-hmm. Is that the end goal, though, Demetrius? Maybe taking the Cam Wake route to the NFL, spend a couple of years in Canada, and then test the waters back in the U.S.?
Well, I actually don't plan too long in the NFL. I'm actually going. Another reason why I'm leaving school too is because I'm a big time player at a small school. So they're always going to say, "Oh, he didn't play anybody. He played smaller competition." So I'm using the CFL as a more film, so I can do it against the pros too, and a chance to get pro level film and experience as well.
Demetrius, I'll end it with this one. Any final words you'd like to share to Fort Valley State, the Wildcats football program, or even those listening in what will soon be your new home in Saskatchewan? I mean, the floor is yours, man.
For my former Wildcats, stay hungry, man. The door is open. Get after it. And for my new team, my new home, I'm excited and I'm ready to come ball.
Hey, Demetrius, congratulations on all the success. Congratulations on signing that dotted line on that contract with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and officially becoming a professional football player. Really looking forward to seeing you wreak havoc now, going from D2 to the CFL. It's going to be a lot of fun watching. And again, congrats on all the success and certainly wishing you all the best. Thanks for taking some time this afternoon.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.